Nika, another typhoon threat for Luzon. So another storm barreling towards the northern Philippines this morning. The Philippine name is Nika, the international name Toraji. Currently a high-end tropical storm about to become a typhoon by the looks of things, and could indeed be a bit stronger than that. Currently at 15.1 degrees north, 126.3 degrees east. Estimated winds right now 70 miles per hour with a pressure estimate of 987 millibars, although latest imagery does show potentially rapid intensification occurring, and this could get towards major typhoon status before landfall in the next 24 hours or a little bit more. This is the latest as of 9 a.m. Philippine time this morning, November 10th. Well, here's its current position displayed on the map. It is moving nearly due west, just a slight northward element on that trajectory, and at the moment the wind field is a little bit uncharacteristic, with the highest winds on the southern side 55 nautical miles. It is currently 249 kilometers from Catanduanes, 304 from Samar, 379 from Naga, 470 from Palanan, and 581 from the capital Manila. Signal 2 warnings are in effect for the potential landfall area. That would be northern Aurora province and southernmost Isabela along the coast. Signal 1 warnings also in effect over a wider area extending as far south as Catanduanes and as far north as southern Cagayan. Well, damaging winds are the primary hazard, because we will be expecting winds of probably 160 kilometers per hour or higher expected for eastern Luzon tomorrow near the landfall zone, with heavy rainfall likely to cause flooding issues in the wider area. High amounts of rain expected. The worst conditions are expected to be a relatively concentrated area right now to that small wind field near the landfall zone, but the rainfall could impact large areas there around those mountains. So here is the forecast, the rest of the weekend into next week. There's landfall on Monday morning, and then into Tuesday the wind field remains relatively compact as it moves over the South China Sea and continuing there and eventually dying off near Hainan in a somewhat similar fashion to the other storm right now, Yinxing, which is slowly starting to weaken over there right now. Still a strong typhoon though over in the South China Sea. There's the JTWC graphic showing everything that's going on there. 4 systems right now, and the estimates from various agencies. Last from the JMA was 60 miles per hour, JTWC was 65, Pagasa at 70. 1 or 2 satellite estimates are really up there now, 85 miles per hour from SSEC, in a similar fashion to what we were looking at with Yinxing when I was doing the update last time, when that one was strengthening. So certainly a possibility that the storm could really rev up just like Yinxing did, and we are expecting a typhoon landfall from Pagasa there on Monday morning. They expect landfall there late morning actually on that forecast local time, but it could be a little bit earlier than that. And the landfall zone is a pretty clear cut really, not much room for deviation at this late stage before landfall, and that's exactly where those signal 2 warnings are there. A relatively small strip of coast along the eastern shore there of northern Luzon. Well, this is the forecast then over the next few days, and you can see first of all this storm Toraji, and then next is another system that's about to form behind it, and that could also provide a big punch to eastern Luzon as well. Both of these could be major typhoons at landfall, which is quite concerning. So there it is again, that second storm at landfall there after Toraji. That's not Manyi, by the way. That is another system in between the two. Really getting quite confusing over there in the Western Pacific, but both of them could provide typhoon conditions and very heavy rainfall. Well, here's a look at the simulated radar reflectivity, and once again you can see Toraji piling into that east coast there with some very high rain return rates there, and then that following typhoon does exactly the same thing. It really It has to be said there that both of these will be tracking in a very similar fashion with landfalls in almost exactly the same location if it goes the way that the GFS is forecasting. Little caveat to that, especially with the second storm, is that the European model actually has it recurving that second storm, but pretty much guaranteed here that this first one, Toraji, will be impacting eastern Luzon. There's no really getting out of that one at all, and that will be plowing through over the northern part of the land, over the mountains of course, so it could weaken substantially as it does that. But look at the rainfall estimates here. You can see that second wave pushing through from that second typhoon. The first one from Toraji probably delivering maybe 8 inches of rainfall, or maybe 10, 250 millimeters. But both storms combined there delivering potentially 32 inches of rainfall. That's 800 millimeters of rain there in the northeastern part of Luzon. Along the north coast, getting up towards 250 millimeters there as well. Further south, in most of the higher populations, rainfall is staying rather low. Both compact typhoons. Manila there only getting 1 inch, 25 millimeters. Well, looking at sea surface temperatures, they're quite good. These read a little bit low, don't forget, so it's probably going to be a bit higher than this. But in general, it's around 28 or 29 degrees Celsius, but probably a little bit more. In the South China Sea, temperatures still up there as well, even after the recent typhoon. Temperatures still running at about 27 degrees at a minimum there, with it looking really good. Obviously, any time of year in the Western Pacific, it can be difficult with these storms. Certainly a backloaded season by the looks of things. Well, here's the latest satellite imagery, and you can see the storm progressing towards the west there, nearly due west as mentioned earlier, just a little bit of a northward element, looking really good on the visible imagery, as it is on pretty much every imagery outlet right now. There's some infrared enhancement there too, showing that curvature towards the center. You can clearly see where the eye is going to be when it pops out. It is almost on the cusp of doing that by the looks of things. And here's a wider shot showing Yinxing towards the west there, chugging along, really going slowly now. That will probably come apart pretty soon. And this is a closer view again of the two storms, which are not too far apart, has to be said, although a big dry slot in between the two. Obviously, Toraji quite a bit larger there, especially with that southern bank of convection, really throwing rain towards the Visayas region and for the Bicol region. But right now, the central core is quite detached from all of that. But it looks like it is wrapping up very nicely as we look at this imagery. This is from our website, which you can track in real time, pulse13.com/satellite. And we'll probably have some automated stream tracker on this as well, just as we've done with Yinxing recently. As we continue to watch this storm, it certainly looks poised to be rapidly intensifying very shortly, if not already, and this is likely to become at least a Category 2 typhoon, and I would expect it could do quite a bit more than that as we start to look at some of those bands appearing on radar.